As our mascot, the owl here, has predicted, this year is going to be a big year for potatoes and for squash. And I want to show you where you can find some of that bounty along Squash Alley. In the area that used to be Marilyn and Maurice's rose bed is one planting of squash, both the yellow squash and the zucchini. And so you can find, and please find and pick that yourselves. There's going to be quite a bit of it. Matter of fact, there's going to be so much that you're going to be wondering why keep planting this stuff. And the reason why is we like to have succession crops where, as it begins to peter out, plants that were planted later then kick in. So that past this Connie's and Sian's flower bed is another planting of zucchini. And there will be some onions here. I'd rather not have people pick stuff that we haven't kind of okayed, because we want to do a replanting and we want to have the harvesting be done somewhat methodically. But these, that's all by way of saying that these onions are just about ready, and we'll put some stakes up so you can pick them and pull them, dig them or whatever in a few days. There's also some onions over here. When these potato leaves get yellow with Yukon Gold potatoes, that means we are done. You could water us as much as you want, and we still won't be able to do much more. So that cues us in that it's harvest time. We've already harvested this bed over here, and now we planted a cover crop clover. These potatoes, on the other hand, are still gangbusters, and that's because they're a different variety. There are these fingerling potatoes, which actually keep foliage much longer. So hopefully we'll get a nice crop out of the fingerlings. In the back there, you see the big leaves of pumpkins. So in the back of the garden, we're going to have a nice pumpkin patch that will be vigorous enough. The vines will be to hide the pumpkins in the patch from deer and from squirrels in particular. Squirrels like to get in and munch on them. Over here, on the other side, on the outside of the garden, is the buttercup squash that you all have kind of unofficially voted as the preferred winter squash. I have a few of them that are ripening up. You can see one in here. So we'll probably have a good amount of these. We've also replanted these in some of the potato beds. This is something to be aware of. This is tarragon, which is, we call it the tarragon, the Tower of Tarragon here. And we have some of that in great abundance for gin and tonics, stuff like that. Right inside the garden here is horseradish, which there have been several very successful attempts at making horseradish sauce. Marshall has made some, so has Dylan. And be aware of that. We have some thyme along the bed here, and you can use that in amounts. You get some good recipe that calls for thyme, come out and pick some of those leaves. We have a very maturing lot of cabbage, and so we'll be thinking in terms of cabbage recipes. And we have here some sage that probably will mature very nicely by Thanksgiving, and be aware of that. In terms of other herbs, we have an abundance of basil in the inside garden. Please come and harvest that. Somebody make some pesto. We also do have a lot of parsley in the inside garden. We have a little bit of rosemary and a little bit of oregano, and I think you'll probably find those kind of looking around the garden. So that's all for now. We're waiting for this Mexican sunflower to mature. It's going to be beautiful in about 3 weeks or so. These little moths that you see fluttering around are the very ones that I was talking about before. They're the ones that get into the broccoli and cabbage and so forth. We do have a natural control for them. So, see you next time.